Somewhere on a mountainside, thousands of people are paying over $100 a day just to slide downhill on 2 planks of fiberglass. No factory, no warehouse full of inventory, just snow, gravity, and a business model that somehow turns a frozen mountain into one of the most expensive tickets in tourism. Welcome to the ski resort industry, where the mountain is free, but everything else costs an absolute fortune. Today we're asking a question that sounds like a fantasy. What does it actually take to buy, build, or run a ski resort? Spoiler: it's not just buying a mountain and installing a chairlift. It's snowmaking science, real estate development, water rights, insurance nightmares, and a climate that's becoming less cooperative every single year. Let's ride the lift up and take a look. First, let's clear up a myth. A ski resort is not just a mountain with some trails cut into it. It's an integrated business combining terrain, infrastructure, hospitality, real estate, and increasingly, artificial snow production. The mountain itself is often the cheapest part, especially since most resorts don't fully own their terrain outright. In the United States, a huge percentage of ski resorts operate on land leased from the US Forest Service, meaning the resort owns the infrastructure but pays the government for the right to operate on public land. This changes the entire ownership conversation, because buying a ski resort often means buying the lifts, buildings, and business operations, not the mountain itself. So when someone says buy a ski resort, they're usually talking about acquiring an operating company with a long-term land lease, existing infrastructure, and a customer base, rather than purchasing raw mountain terrain. Let's start with cost number 1. The lifts. Chairlifts and gondolas are staggeringly expensive pieces of engineering, often costing anywhere from a few $1,000,000 for a basic chairlift to over $15 million for a high-speed detachable gondola. And resorts typically need multiple lifts covering different sections of terrain, meaning total lift infrastructure alone can easily run into the tens or hundreds of millions of dollars. Lifts also require constant maintenance and periodic replacement, since safety regulations are strict and equipment failure is simply not an option when you're moving people hundreds of feet above the ground. This is why older, smaller resorts sometimes struggle financially. They're stuck maintaining aging lift infrastructure without the capital to modernize. Cost number 2, snowmaking. And this has become absolutely critical to the modern ski business. Natural snowfall is unpredictable, and relying on it entirely is a recipe for financial disaster during a low snow season. Snowmaking systems use massive pumps, air compressors, and networks of pipes to blast a mix of pressurized water and air into cold air, creating artificial snow across key trails. Building a comprehensive snowmaking system can cost tens of millions of dollars, and running it consumes enormous amounts of water and electricity every single night during the season. Some large resorts use hundreds of millions of gallons of water annually just for snowmaking, which means water rights become a serious legal and environmental issue, not just a technical one. This is also where climate change enters the business conversation directly, as warmer winters mean resorts need more snowmaking capacity just to maintain the same operating season they used to get from nature for free. Cost number 3. Grooming and mountain operations. Resorts run fleets of snowcats, specialized vehicles that groom trails every single night to maintain safe, skiable conditions. A single snowcat can cost several $100,000, and larger resorts operate entire fleets of them running throughout the night, every night, all season long. Add in avalanche control operations in mountainous terrain, ski patrol staffing, and constant trail maintenance, and mountain operations alone become a massive ongoing expense before a single lift ticket is sold. Cost number 4. Base area infrastructure and hospitality. Modern ski resorts aren't just mountains, they're entire small tourism economies, including lodges, restaurants, rental shops, ski schools, and increasingly hotels and condominiums. This is where the business starts to look less like operating a mountain and more like running a hospitality and real estate empire. Now let's talk about how ski resorts actually make their money, because this is where the business gets genuinely surprising. Lift ticket sales, the thing most people assume is the primary revenue source, are actually a relatively thin margin business on their own. Ticket prices have to cover massive fixed costs like lift maintenance, snowmaking, grooming, and staffing, all of which happen regardless of how many people show up on a given day. This is why the ski industry pioneered the season pass model, locking in guaranteed revenue months before winter even begins, regardless of how good or bad the snow turns out to be. Major resort companies now sell multi-mountain season passes, giving skiers access to dozens of resorts across the country for one flat annual price. This model shifted enormous financial risk away from unpredictable daily ticket sales toward predictable, prepaid annual revenue, which is why the biggest resort operators have aggressively consolidated smaller mountains into these massive pass networks. But the real profit engine at most major resorts isn't skiing at all. It's real estate. Ski resorts are often surrounded by luxury condominiums, private homes, and hotel developments, and resort operators frequently profit enormously from selling or leasing this real estate. A mountain view lot near a popular resort can sell for a staggering premium, and resort operators sometimes make more profit from real estate development than from the entire ski operation combined. This is why many ski resort acquisitions today are really about the surrounding land value and development rights, not just the lift tickets and terrain. Food and beverage, equipment rentals, ski lessons, and retail shops also contribute significant secondary revenue, often carrying much higher profit margins than lift tickets themselves. A ski lesson or a rented pair of skis can be dramatically more profitable per transaction than the base cost of the lift ticket that got the customer up the mountain in the first place. Summer operations have also become increasingly important, as many resorts now run mountain biking trails, zip lines, scenic lift rides, and outdoor events during the warmer months to generate revenue year-round instead of sitting empty for half the year. This diversification helps offset one of the industry's biggest structural problems, seasonality. Since a resort that only makes money for 4 or 5 months a year is inherently a riskier business than one with revenue streams stretched across all 12. Now here's where things get genuinely challenging. Climate change is not a distant future problem for this industry. It's already reshaping operations today. Warmer average temperatures mean shorter natural snow seasons, less reliable snowpack, and increased dependence on expensive artificial snowmaking just to maintain historical opening and closing dates. Lower elevation resorts are particularly vulnerable, since even small increases in average temperature can push conditions above the threshold needed for either natural snow or effective snowmaking. This has accelerated consolidation in the industry, since smaller, financially weaker resorts struggle to afford the increasingly expensive snowmaking infrastructure needed just to stay competitive, while larger companies with more capital can invest aggressively to protect their operating seasons. So who actually owns ski resorts today? The industry has become heavily consolidated, with a small number of major resort companies controlling dozens of mountains across North America and Europe through aggressive acquisition strategies over the past 2 decades. These companies benefit enormously from scale, spreading snowmaking costs, marketing budgets, and season pass revenue across a huge network of properties, instead of relying on any single mountain's performance. Independent, family-owned resorts still exist, but they increasingly compete on personality, local charm, and lower prices, rather than trying to match the massive infrastructure investment of the big players. For private investors, direct ski resort ownership is extremely capital-intensive and requires deep expertise in mountain operations, real estate development, and seasonal hospitality management all at once. A more realistic path for most investors is buying shares in publicly traded resort operating companies, or investing in real estate specifically tied to established resort towns. For entrepreneurs looking at smaller opportunities, one growing niche is acquiring struggling independent resorts and repositioning them around a specific niche, like backcountry access, budget-friendly family skiing, or 4-season outdoor recreation, instead of trying to compete directly with the mega resorts on terrain size alone. So here's the real answer to, so you want to buy a ski resort. You're not buying a mountain, you're buying into a snowmaking operation, a real estate development company, a hospitality empire, and a seasonal business that's becoming more exposed to climate risk every single year, all rolled into one. It's part infrastructure company, part real estate developer, part tourism operator, and part climate risk bet. Done right, it can be an incredibly profitable, brand-defining business anchored by loyal customers and valuable surrounding real estate. Done wrong, it's a mountain full of expensive machinery waiting for snow that increasingly might not show up on schedule. And that, right there, is the real business hiding behind every chairlift and every groomed trail you've ever glided down without a second thought.